It is October the 4th, 2025. I'm Chris, and this is the future of photography.
The future of photography.
Good what? Good evening, good morning. Hey,
good morning.
Hello to
good
the
morning.
world, Jeremiah, Adrian. How are you guys doing?
Good morning.
I'm doing very well, thank you. Yes, all good.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So, LA on the line, London on the line, and Hanover on the line. We want to talk about, well, actually, one thing I want to just ask you, Adrian, from last week. How did your AI experience go with editing photos using one of these things you talk to? Or
it was awesome for 5 minutes.
Until it didn't work, right?
Until I thought to myself, it's taken me ages to get the same result I could do with 2 sliders in an app.
Which is true with all new technology. Early on, it's crappy. It's the first digital cameras were 12 pixels and didn't look good. And now look at what we have. So
no, I'm not against it in any way. But for me, it was a fun experiment. But
yeah.
But I'll stop there.
I would say that if you've taken a picture, you're on a hike. You're an influencer, as you no doubt are.
Oh, we all are influencers, right?
I'm an influencer.
An influencer.
You look at your phone and you're on the hike and you go, I want to post this right now. And you're making your edits with your earbuds as you go.
Yeah, you talk through your edits with your assistant, right?
No. Why would you spoil a really good hike by wearing earbuds, trying to post things on the internet, worrying about connection? Why would you not just enjoy being out in nature without a screen?
Are you saying you're hiking in places where there's no connection? Really?
Excuse me. Is that like a
19th
century?
In my house.
Is that a 19th century sensibility?
No.
Don't you hike?
Not.
Don't you hike like this?
No, I don't. Because if I did, I'd be dead. Because I would have fallen off a mountain, or walked into a tree, or been eaten by a bear. Not that we have bears in this country.
Well, I was just wondering. You don't even have proper mountains in Britain, right?
No, we don't have proper bears either.
And no forests and nothing. Okay,
we got Paddington and Pooh.
Exactly.
Other than that, we're a bit bereft of bears.
All right, so okay, that was kind of what I expected to hear from you. So we'll see how this whole thing develops over the next years. Let's talk about a fun experiment that I came across and I had to recreate. And that is a YouTube channel called WRT Film, and they made a video about shooting infrared using an iPhone. Now, if you've ever done infrared photography, so first of all, what is infrared photography? Originally, film is sensitive to infrared light. It makes a picture. So infrared light is the light that is beyond red that we don't see with our eyes. It's not part of the visible spectrum. And then when digital cameras came along, people noticed that they're not really good at shooting infrared because they have an infrared filter in front of the sensor. So if you hold on, I'm so happy to have one of these things. This is a sensor, and what I'm doing is I'm touching. You can hear it. I'm tapping my finger on the sensor, but I'm not tapping it on the sensor. I'm tapping it on a filter that is in front of the sensor. So I have no way to really touch that sensor. And that filter filters out ultraviolet, infrared, because those are usually not necessary for a picture because we can't see them. So they cause more harm for photography, usually cause more harm for photography than they do good. So this gets filtered out. So what do? You get a camera, maybe a used camera from somewhere, and you send it in to someone to modify it. And then they rip out that filter and replace it with a clear piece of glass that lets infrared through. That's kind of the usual way to do that. And then you have a camera that is dedicated to either full spectrum photography or just infrared photography. So if you have a full spectrum sensor then that captures everything, you can put what's called an infrared filter in front of it. Even though it doesn't filter infrared, it filters visible light. It lets infrared through. So that's kind of the usual way. You have the camera, you have it modded, you take that filter that looks black, can't really see much through it because it filters out visible light. And then your camera sees only the infrared, and then you do a few magic things developing that, and then you have those typical infrared photos that have all the foliage is white. Everything that's green in the photo, the leaves on the trees and the grass on the ground is white, and everything looks kind of surreal. We've seen that very prominently just recently in the cinema in Dune 2. They used infrared cameras for some of the stuff there. And just taking a picture of yourself, a selfie with infrared is just eerie. It looks weird because the skin turns almost translucent and your eyes are really dark. Your irises are really dark. You look a bit like a ghost. So turns out the infrared filter in an iPhone, I'm using a 16 Pro, I think WRT Film used a 15 or something. The infrared filter in front of the sensor in the iPhone is weak. It doesn't filter out a lot of infrared, which means infrared comes through. And what you can do is you can take an infrared filter, just a regular filter from a camera, find a way to attach it to your smartphone, which if you go online, there's plenty of filter holders for smartphones that can take regular camera filters. You don't even need a big camera filter because it's a tiny lens. So this one is a 46 millimeter thread. What I'm using here is a Hoya R72, so it filters visible light under 720 nanometers out. What I did is I used one of these and I 3D printed a little holder that fits on my phone. So it fits the weird case I have on, and all I do is I just press it on and it's on. So the lenses look through that, and then I go out, and when the sun shines, I get really interesting photos. Any questions so far?
Just a comment. Do you remember infrared film before that?
Yes.
That was very exciting. I don't know if it's made anymore, but that would be a fun...
So infrared film is regular black and white film that has extended sensitivity in the infrared range. So if you take one of these visible light blocking filters like the one I'm using here, then you get just a lot of infrared in the picture. But also if you just use it as a black and white film, you get additional detail in the shadows and in some areas, which makes it interesting too.
Yeah. Anyway, just a little comment.
So just to show you how dark this is, I have the flashlight on my phone on brightest. If you see the video, you can see it's really bright. Let me put that in front of it. You get a little bit of a red thing through, but that's the amount of light this filter takes away. So
that's pretty dark.
I'll have to say I'm not an expert in infrared photography. I haven't done much of it because I just remember having the. I remember I had the chance to have a camera modded, but then it felt like it was for something that I don't really use that often. It wasn't worth keeping that camera around, and so I just decided, yeah, probably not. So now having the ability to do that is a lot of fun, and I had a lot of playing and a lot of experimenting because, again, I don't have a lot of experience with infrared photography. So,
well, I would say that I've done my share of infrared photography, both in film, slide film, and digital film. I have a Lumix that I modded, and a small one that I just kind of take out sometimes with a lot of greenery or forest walks. And first of all, the lens is beautiful. I have several different infrared filters, which of course allow different kinds of light through. And I found an interesting, I forget the website now, maybe I'll research it and leave it up on the notes over the next few weeks, of a system in Photoshop, a workflow, automatic, that will basically develop your digital negative into the appropriate visual sensibility that you want, with basically the run of a button. And
right. So
fabulous.
And that's what I hoped I could accomplish, but it didn't quite work out. So the R72, that's the filter that the WRT film guys use, and so I just went online, again, small diameter, 46 millimeters. That was around $30. Wasn't expensive. So I used that and later found out, okay, that filters so much visible light out that you don't really have any color information left. So it pretty much turns it into a black and white infrared photo. And you can get an idea of looking here in the video. This is what comes out of the camera. It's a very red image because there is a bit of visible red that goes through at the end of the spectrum. But you can also see the leaves and the greens, everything's white. And they're not white in reality. So another thing you see is that in the middle, there's a bit of a hot spot. And that has to do with the lens. So I first of all looked at how can I take care of that hot spot, because it's like a vignette, and if you like that, you can just leave it in. But so I went for pretty much using an inverted radial gradient, and multiplied that with a picture, and then you end up with something from here to here. It's just a bit straighter, also kind of messes with the colors a bit, but that wasn't that much of a problem. And then I went into the color channels and I did some white balance on it and ended up with something semi-corrected. You have a lot of blue in it now. And did some contrast, because those pictures tend to be quite low contrast. And that was the first thing, just taking a still photo and making it into something that pleases my eye, that looks good. Again, there's no wrong or right. There's no prescription of how exactly you have to do this. So that was my initial approach, and it worked okay for me. It looks good.
It looks good.
And then I went and tried video.
Infrared video. Okay.
Infrared video, and
now we're talking.
Back
like
in the
spies.
day,
are you a spy?
Yes, absolutely. Back in the day, it was difficult to do that because you don't have a lot of light, so you need longer exposure times, especially with film. Now an iPhone can crank this up to 1600 or whatever ISO. And it does have a lot of digital magic going on. So there's a lot of processing, definitely. So video went okay as long as there was enough sun. And but of course there are problems, because you remember that hotspot I showed you. Yes, guess what happens with a hotspot if you just film with your regular camera?
Gets hotter.
Does it gets hotter? Yeah.
No, it moves. It moves around.
Oh, okay.
It's part of the sensor, and the sensor moves around for stabilization purposes. That's in-body image stabilization, and the phone has that built in. And I wouldn't be surprised if it also does some digital moving around of the picture on the sensor. So you have this hotspot being all over the place, which was weird. because there's no way to correct for that. No real way to correct for that unless you
not unless you could figure some way to mask it and then track the mask. That would be
no, not with a thing that is on a gradient and has no hard corners. That fails. Reliably fails. So that doesn't work. The other thing is white balance. You can't have white balance automatic because the camera has a hard time finding any white balance there, so you need to fix that one. Also, you have to think of the camera choice because you have 3 cameras in a Pro iPhone, and even with a fixed white balance, and of course I used the app that can fix the white balance. Even with a fixed white balance, you end up with 3 very different white balances on these cameras. It wasn't the same. It wasn't equal. So, stabilization, a bit of a problem because I want an app that has a fixed white balance that allows me to turn off stabilization. And the only one I could find that was sort of had these professional features was the Final Cut Pro camera app from Apple. I tried with the Blackmagic camera app. Nope. Didn't allow me to turn off the stabilization. I tried with a few others. That was the first one I tried that was doing that well. So it ended up being.
Did you get any video to share?
I am opening it up as we speak because here we go. So this is my infrared video from the garden, and it's been quite a journey. It's a new tool in my tool bag for sure. And just the fact of the green and the leaves and everything turning white is so surreal looking.
Interesting. Very interesting.
A very, very fun experiment. Totally fun.
Yeah.
So again, this has a color cast, but this was just my decision to have it turn out this way. There's no wrong, there's no right. But here are some peppers. It's just wild. It's just weird. Some flowers. They just turn into something else. And even this is basil, dark violet leaves, white in infrared. It's just fun. So it turns out that this experiment cost me $30, a bit of a measuring and 3D printing of a holder. Again, this fits just this specific case design, but if you look online, you'll find plenty of clip-on kind of holders for different lenses that will just take a filter and make it part of this thing. You can. I tried. You can even hold it in front of it and cup it from behind, so you don't get any stray light bouncing in from the back. It works just fine.
Interesting. Yeah, it's good. It's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun for the effort I put in and the money I put in and the time I put in. It was well worth going that route and trying it out. So. I have that now. I can use it whenever I want.
It'd be very interesting to take a still from this, up-res it, and do a large print and just see where it breaks down.
Oh, it will break down for sure. But I'm wondering when it will break down because it didn't look too bad.
That's what I mean.
And I also took regular photos with a fixed white balance and with halide camera app where you can shoot raw with 48 megapixels? Anyway, with the maximum resolution of the sensor. So the resolution should be there. It's probably in the video where you'll see it break down.
Yeah,
for sure. So yeah,
cool.
There's a little playground for you out there.
There's some there.
I will link that, or we will link that in the show notes, that WRT film video and my video, and
So I'm going to assume that anybody with a 3D printer and any number of phones can just do a search for an STL file for a clip-on filter holder.
Most likely, yes. But I looked on, what was it, AliExpress. I think $10 for a clip-on filter holder for a 46 millimeter filter. Maybe you need a step-down ring. Maybe they're a bit bigger. But I found 20 different ones maybe on one little search. So that's not a big expense.
No, very effective, very creative, very effective actually for that sort of thing. It's good to be able to expect, because there has been a barrier to entry the infrared photography game, hasn't there? So historically, either through having to pay for converting a camera, or I suppose buying film back in the day, or I remember not something I have a lot of experience with this, but I remember using the Ilford do a pseudo infrared one, don't they? Which is what's it called? Is it called SFX or something like that? It's an Ilford film that is just black and white rather than infrared, but it is overly sensitive in the infrared, and whack a strong red coloured filter on the front of that, and you get some interesting sort of glowy black and white images. Done that in the past, but this is
I haven't tried that. I haven't tried that, but here's a page of like results for these clip-on things that. Again, this one is 99 cents. So we're not even talking expensive here. The time and plastic and electricity that I spent on mine is probably more expensive than just ordering from somewhere.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Probably.
we have I have a new toy here, and I'm really happy that I have that. And it would have worked just fine without a 3D printer, just by holding it in front of it. That was my first experiment to see if it's even worth doing. And it turned out, yep, absolutely. Also, it worked quite well even without bright sunlight. So if the weather is overcast, it still did its thing. I once read an explanation that I'm trying to dig that out. I'll have to dig that out. What exactly happens with the light being reflected from the green leaves? Why they turn white? It's not as simple and obvious as it's usually said, that the green filters it out or something like that. There's a bit of a more of a complicated explanation.
I think if you go online, you can. I think if you can go online, you could probably find, I think I have it somewhere buried in my files, a PDF booklet on all manner of infrared photography. And just, again, a simple perplexity search should probably pull it up. And I'm sure if you searched Amazon, somebody's published a book on the technical aspect as well as the aesthetics of infrared photography for those interested. But it is a look, and a very specific one, and lots of fun, both color and black and white.
Yeah, for not having it done before, I was really happy with the results. Someone said, you'd need a infrared filter that starts more in the 600 to 650 nanometer range, because that includes a bit more color information, and then you can get a different kind of picture. But even that was plenty fun. So there we go. Unusual experiment, new tool in the tool belt.
Good stuff. Fun
Excellent.
Stuff.
Yeah. So everyone try this out. Check the show notes. Everything's in there.
Yeah, show notes will have the links to the YouTube channel that you've talked about, Chris, and for those that don't get to watch the video, the YouTube shorts that you've just posted that we've just been looking at. The video stuff looks fun. Yeah,
it does absolutely. As long as you take care of the stabilization, it's not good. If it's stabilized, it's hard to deal with.
Yes.
Anyway,
it'd be interesting to see that at some point, just to understand just how much movement there is in the sensor of the phone, just to try and keep. It'd be an interest, just out of pure curiosity to see how much sensor movement there is, because it's because of course the whole point of the stabilization is to disguise the movement, right? but it'd be good to understand just how hard it has to work.
And for that, it has to work really hard. That's it was interesting. I don't have an example here, but it was. And I shot everything vertical, so side to side, it went like over the edge almost. Like the spot would really dig into the edge. There's a lot of movement there, especially if you try the telephoto camera. Being able to hold that still. I was not able to hold it still in my hands because first of all, the telephoto of course amplifies that, and second, it's super light. There's no inertia, no nothing with a phone. So
Yes.
I leaned against trees and walls and things and tried to really, really stabilize that, trying to conjure up everything I learned about photography over the last 30, 40 years. And I ended up, I had to stabilize everything in the end on the computer just to get the little jitters out.
Interesting that you can't shut it off.
It's actually a good question. Is there anything in the default settings on iOS?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. I went straight for a third-party solution. I think because I heard that you can't turn it off, but I didn't really check. There's a possibility that you can turn it off, and I just didn't know.
It's a hack, probably.
Anyway, that was a fun session for sure. Yeah. How about some fun with what did you bring for pics? An iPad? What is? No, hold on. That's the wrong one.
Oh,
wrong browser. Hold on, just a second.
that's okay.
Here we go. Moft. Who's Moft?
Moft. Moft are a great company. I don't know how well you guys know them or use their products. We've got a bunch of them in this house, be it little phone stands for the kids that turn into mini tripods, or I think I have one of their wallets that magnetizes to the back of your phone. This week's pick from me is the iPad mini case, which may cause either of you or both of you to ask the question, why would Adrian need an iPad mini case?
My first question is, why would you need an iPad? Because I don't have one.
Well, I haven't had one for years because it got circulated around the family, and Ellie mostly uses it now. So which is fine. But I did, after we recorded last week, I did actually go out and buy an iPad mini. So building on our conversation from last week about me needing a new app and wanting to, spend a little bit time more away from computer screens and being able to print on an Instax printer and other small printers and what have you. I treated myself, because I'm not getting a new phone this year either, because I still love my iPhone 13 mini. It is awesome, and I've had the battery refresh in it recently, and it's as good as new, and Apple don't make a phone today that's anywhere near as good as the iPhone 13 mini, and I'll fight anybody that says they do. Right, so I thought to myself, do you know what? If I'm going to do a bit more editing, that is a really, the iPhone mini, right? The iPhone 13 mini, there it is on the camera, really tiny screen, small, right? Yeah. Whereas the iPad mini is significantly larger. There's the iPad mini screen. It is. I'm holding it in one hand, right? That's without any bother at all. I can hold it in one hand. But that is, but here, and it has this case, which I won't attempt to demonstrate on the.
It's an origami case.
Yeah.
It is an origami case. I'm sure there are videos on the link that I shared for my pick of the week that have got a much better expression of it. But it folds. It's supposed to fold about 20 ways. Some of them are only very subtly different from each other. But one of the best bits so far, I found is I can't remember what they call it. It's something like leg mode, right? And it folds in such a way that you can rest it on your leg and it will just sit there. Yeah, there you go. Like that picture there, that woman on the picture there, right? It folds in such a way that you can rest it on your leg, and it literally just stays there very comfortably. So if you're reading a book, like in the Kindle app, or if you're watching a video, or even doing some creative work, it'll just sit there, which is lovely. How often can you use an iPad and not have to actually hold it if you're just sitting on the sofa? So that's my pick.
And then you can't get up because it's stuck on your leg. It's like having a cat on your lap, and no, I'm just kidding. It's okay. It looks fun.
It looks nothing like having a cat, Chris. It's nothing at all like having a cat. Anyway, I'm a dog person, not a cat person.
It looks fun. Cool.
It is, and more to come on iPad Mini, I'm sure, at some point when we're short of good material for a show.
All right. I'm bringing us. Okay, so I'm a user of Serif's Affinity products, Affinity Photo, Affinity Designer. Designer is my go-to for a lot of the editing that's not very photo specific, but just graphic design specific. And they had their version 1 out of the suite, and they had a version 2 out. And then they got bought by Canva. And so they're now Canva owned. And it feels like the software development has gone a bit stale. There was not a lot happening. I'm pretty sure they are looking at lots of integration in the background. Now, one big reason why people went for Affinity was that they had a simple pay once, use forever price. No subscription.
And very affordable as well.
And very affordable and quite capable, very capable. So if you're a Photoshop user, it takes a bit of getting used to, but a lot of the things in there are competitive. So it was, for a lot of people, was a go-to because they didn't want to shell out every month for Adobe products. But as I said, it went a bit stale, and they have just released a teaser. So there's nothing really happening there, but a teaser video that says creative freedom is coming, which there's nothing in the video other than that, pretty much. And and then they sent out a few emails. I received an email after I signed up for the newsletter, because of course that's what I do. I want to see what's happening there. So it says, you've chosen to see the future first. Now you're at the front of the queue for what's next. This isn't just another update. It's the beginning of something new, a shift in how creative freedom is defined.
Sounds like a subscription coming.
That's and of course I went through the comments. I went through all the things that people said on different forums and so on, and that is the major concern of people. Because of course, if you know Canva, that's a subscription if you want to use the good features, right? And they early they said that no, we're not touching Affinity. That's for our professional users. And but now this really version 3, maybe new branding, maybe new business model. I have no idea what's coming, but October 30th, that's when they want to release things and tease. They want to tease a lot in between. That's what they said. So the future is close.
I'm looking forward to hearing what they say. Right?
Me too.
I appreciate the skepticism about a subscription model, because Canva is certainly that, and always has been. Right? Canva didn't exist in the days when you could actually buy
fair enough. I mean, they started with a subscription, right? So fine. Affinity.
Yeah, absolutely. So. But I'm really interested because the I don't know whether you'd call it the word escapes me. The only word I can think of is metaphor, right? The way the user interface works in Canva and the approach to it, almost the philosophy of it, is very, very different from.
It's a template-based system.
Yeah, and I honestly, I've tried Canva, and honestly, I struggle a little bit because it is so very different to all the tools I've used for so many years, and it's what so I'm not saying it's bad in any way. It seems to be
No.
very powerful, and its main use in our household is in Emma's Etsy shop, right? So everybody, liftmeupcrafts.co.uk. There we go. Get the advert into the show. But she uses it a lot, and it works really well. And she uses it for doing layouts and all sorts of stuff. And it looks like a fantastic tool.
You could use it for your zine design.
Oh, it does videos. It does a lot.
Very good for
lot of media, and I've used it. I've a friend of mine who wanted to do a flyer for his like a brochure for his music workshops. I pointed him to Canva. He had a thing done in an hour.
I think
and he's not a
mashup,
graphic designer, right?
I think there's two. That's definitely one of the mashups I was thinking of, right? So the Affinity product I use most actually is Publisher, which is their equivalent of Adobe InDesign. It's the one that can be used for...
It's the bookmaker.
It's the bookmaker, right? It's the one that you can do and send things off to print. And when I've done zines, I typically use Affinity to do my layout in Affinity Publisher. But that, one of the things I really love though, because of course doing photographic zines, sometimes you have to tweak the photos, right? But and that's seamless in the Affinity suite. You literally just click on the photo persona icon, and it immediately switches the whole application to Affinity Photo. You make your edits, and then just click back into Publisher, and it's there, and it's seamless. And I suspect Adobe has something equivalent. But I'd love to see that kind of mashup between products, between the metaphor that Canva uses and the metaphor that Affinity uses, and see what could happen. That could be awesome.
Oh, I find the idea of some integration there very exciting. But I'm cautiously waiting and
cautiously pessimistic.
I'm not sure. I mean, I give them the benefit of the doubt. All I've seen so far is people really being unhappy of the prospect of a subscription there, and that's...
Do you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the days many years ago when I used to work for IBM. IBM bought one software company a week, pretty much. They were always buying software companies, and they typically would buy something that could be deployed really quickly, almost like what you'd call a turnkey solution. And by the time IBM had integrated it into the IBM software family, you couldn't possibly deliver anything with that software product anymore without 10,000 person days of professional services alongside it.
Of course.
So, But I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt, right?
Me too, yeah.
And see where we end up, because it could be really interesting.
Yep. All right, let's just wait. Let's just wait and see. And then, last but not least, Jeremiah is bringing us Iceberg.
This is absolutely free. No subscription necessary. You can just go and use it to your heart's content. Many people have been asking me to start. They'd love to see some images. I had on my website, and still do, Antarctic icebergs, and I thought I would just do a balance of Arctic icebergs and just throw it up there as quickly as I could fish them out. And we'll continue to kind of build out some of my images from my extraordinary expedition, but these are an indication of the differences, obviously, between the North and the South Poles, and extraordinarily beautiful sculptural elements that exist in nature.
It's just
breathtaking.
Amazing, amazing, the bizarre shapes, and they're none is the same. They are all different. They are all unique.
Yeah.
Also different sizes, different.
And for the most part, these are taken from a small zodiac, pretty close, and at sea.
But not too close, because they can flip over.
Yeah, not the Arctic ones, not so much, because they are floating ice. Basically, a lot of them are sea ice that's frozen. They're not that deep, but in Antarctic they are quite deep and very dangerous. In Antarctica, they can't flip. You just you get to read it. Anyway,
Awesome.
there you go, and you could do a little deep dive on the site as well for all manner of things, both real and not.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, it's great to see the photos from your trip. I guess we
Yes.
saw some, though, your more casual photos, but it's great to see the work from the trip. It's great.
Yeah, getting there. There's a lot to,
It's a lot of
edit,
work.
digest, and yeah. So
Plenty
doing
of
it
photos.
slowly. Yeah,
Anyway, take it slow. Take it slow. Make them good pictures.
that's it. Well,
All right.
back to photography.
Real photography. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us here on our little podcast. You can find us online at thefutureofphotography.com. You can join us on our Discord to get in a discussion with us, or just watch the videos and see the photos and things that we share here. So that's it. Until next time, everyone, take care. And
Bye-bye.
Bye.
bye-bye.
You've been listening to The Future of Photography. Join the discussion on our Discord, find the show notes and all episodes at thefutureofphotography.com, and subscribe wherever you listen to audio.